You were born into a world where the most powerful resource is not gold, not oil, not land, but the thoughts you choose to hold in your mind. From the very first breath you took, the same force that built empires, discovered new worlds, and lifted ordinary men into the pages of history was placed inside you. It is the power to think, the power to decide, the power to imagine something that does not yet exist and bring it into reality. And yet, most people will go their entire lives never truly using it. They will live by default. They will follow patterns set by others. They will wait for permission that never comes. They will look at the few who rise to greatness and call them lucky, gifted, chosen. But the truth that has been whispered through every page of human achievement is this: greatness does not choose you. You choose it. Andrew Carnegie chose it when he was a poor Scottish immigrant working 12 hours a day in a factory for a few cents. He had no title, no inheritance, no safety net. But he had a vision, a clear, burning picture of a future no one else could see. That vision became the steel empire that changed the face of America. Thomas Edison chose it when he failed over 10,000 times to make a light bulb work. The world laughed. They called him foolish. But Edison understood a law of life that most never grasp. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the refining fire that makes success inevitable. Walt Disney chose it when bankers told him no, when critics called him delusional, when his first studio went bankrupt. He held to a picture in his mind so real that it could not be killed, a place where dreams came alive. And you, right now, are holding a picture in your mind, whether you realize it or not. That picture is shaping your life this very moment. If it is small, your life will be small. If it is unclear, your life will drift without direction. If it is filled with doubt, your results will reflect it like a mirror. The first and most unshakable truth of success is this: you become what you think about most of the time. This is not a motivational slogan. It is the law of mind, as certain as gravity. Whatever dominates your thoughts, good or bad, success or failure, wealth or poverty, will pull your life toward it with magnetic certainty. If you think constantly of limitation, you will find limitation at every turn. If you think of growth, of possibility, of a clear and definite goal, the universe itself begins to rearrange to make it real. This is not magic. It is cause and effect. Your thoughts determine your actions. Your actions determine your habits. Your habits determine your destiny. And so the first command on this journey is simple. Guard your mind like a fortress. Do not let idle gossip, fear-driven news, or the opinions of the average invade your mental gates. Feed it with greatness. Fill it with the voices of those who have walked the path before you, the inventors, the leaders, the dreamers, who have proven that what begins in the mind can shake the world. But thought alone is not enough. There must be belief. Belief so deep that it becomes a certainty in your bones, an unshakable conviction that what you desire is not just possible, but inevitable if you refuse to quit. Belief is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Without it, your goals remain ideas. With it, your goals begin to take form, as surely as sunrise follows night. Look around your life right now. Every object you see began as a thought: the chair you sit on, the building you're in, the phone, the car, the clothes. None of it existed until someone believed in it enough to make it real. This is the foundation. Mindset first, belief second, and then comes clarity. The kind of clarity that makes hesitation impossible. You must decide exactly what you want and why you want it. Vague wishes will not move you. The mind cannot hit a target. It cannot see. A ship without a destination is at the mercy of every wind and wave. But a captain who knows the port he's sailing to will adjust his course 1,000 times and still arrive. This is why Napoleon Hill, after interviewing the most successful men of his era, said the first step to riches is a definite chief aim. One clear, specific goal you will devote your life to until it becomes real. Not a dozen goals. Not, I'll try this and see what happens. One aim, one obsession. Write it, speak it, see it, feel it, let it live in your mind until it is more real than the circumstances around you. Then, and only then, comes the work. The work that others will not do. The discipline that will separate you from the millions who only wish for success but will not pay the price. There will be mornings when your body begs you to stay in bed. Get up anyway. There will be days when your results look small and discouraging. Push forward anyway. There will be moments when the world laughs, doubts, or ignores you. Believe anyway, because discipline is not about how you feel in the moment. It is about who you have decided to become. And every act of discipline is a vote cast for that future self. You cannot plant seeds one day and harvest the next. Nature works in seasons. So does success. The season of planting is hard, unseen, thankless. But if you persist through it, the harvest will come. And when it does, the world will call you lucky. But you will know the truth. Luck is simply preparation meeting opportunity. You will never rise above the image you hold of yourself. If deep down you see yourself as average, life will conspire to prove you right. If you believe you are destined for more, life will test that belief until you have either surrendered it or proven it beyond doubt. This is why self-image is the secret engine behind every act of greatness. A man or woman with a poor self-image will sabotage their own efforts. Even when the door to opportunity is wide open, they will say, "It's not for me." They will shrink back into the familiar because the familiar feels safe, even if it is a prison. But those who achieve beyond the ordinary, they rehearse a different picture in their minds. They see themselves as capable before the evidence appears. They speak of their goals as if they are already theirs. They walk into the room not with arrogance but with certainty. Certainty is magnetic. People trust it. Doors open to it. Fortune bends toward it. But certainty must be earned. It is built through repetition, the daily habit of aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with the person you intend to become. If you want wealth, you must first learn to think like the wealthy. If you want influence, you must first learn to speak, act, and decide like a leader. There is no escaping this truth. You cannot be one person in private and expect to live as another in public. The person you are when no one is watching is the architect of your destiny. This is why discipline and integrity are twins. Without integrity, your discipline is a show for others. Without discipline, your integrity is a wish you never live out. Think of Henry Ford. He was not a man of inherited privilege. He was a mechanic with a mind on fire. Everyone told him building an affordable car for the masses was impossible, that only the rich could own automobiles. But Ford saw it already done in his mind. He imagined factories producing on an unheard-of scale. He pictured families driving to places they had never been able to reach. The vision was clear. The belief was unshakable. The discipline was relentless. And the result was an empire that transformed the world's way of living. Your life is no different in principle. The details may change. Your dream may not be a car company, a steel empire, or a motion picture studio. But the process is the same. The mind shapes the vision shapes the actions shape the reality. This process is why failure is not fatal, unless you accept it as final. Every setback carries with it the seed of an equal or greater advantage, but only if you search for it. Abraham Lincoln failed in business, lost multiple elections, and endured crushing personal losses. Yet he carried in his heart a picture of a unified nation and the belief that he had a role to play in shaping it. That picture pulled him through storms that would have broken a lesser man. When you face your own storms, and you will, remember that resilience is not about being untouched by hardship. It is about bending without breaking, adapting without losing your center, and using every trial as fuel. Your thoughts are the helm. Your belief is the wind. Your discipline is the steady hand on the wheel. And your resilience is the anchor that keeps you from drifting when the seas turn violent. But even with all of this, the right thoughts, the right beliefs, the right habits, there is another force you must master: gratitude. Gratitude is not passive. It is not a polite thank you whispered when life is kind. Gratitude is active. It is the daily recognition that life itself is a gift, and every challenge is an opportunity disguised as trouble. When you live in gratitude, you shift your mind from scarcity to abundance. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "How can I use this?" The mind that is grateful cannot dwell on what is missing. It finds power in what is already present. Andrew Carnegie once said that the man who dies rich dies disgraced. For true wealth is not measured only in money but in the good you do with it. Gratitude keeps you grounded so that success does not rot into arrogance. And yet, gratitude does not mean complacency. You can be grateful for where you are and still determined to rise higher. This balance is the mark of maturity in the success-minded. Picture a farmer standing in a field. He is grateful for the harvest he holds in his hands, but he is already thinking of the next planting season. Gratitude for the now, vision for the future. This is the posture of greatness. And here is where adaptability enters. Because the road to your vision will never be straight. You will plan for one path and find it blocked. You will aim for one opportunity and watch it vanish. But if your purpose is clear and your mind is flexible, you will find another way. The oak tree stands strong in the storm, but it is the willow that bends and survives. Be willing to adjust your methods without surrendering your mission. This is how innovators win. Edison did not insist on making the light bulb work the first way he tried. He adapted. Walt Disney did not cling to his first studio. He adapted. Carnegie did not stick to one opportunity. He adapted. You must be equally fluid. The world changes. Technology shifts. Markets evolve. People come and go. But if your vision is etched deep in your spirit, you will bend, not break. Every moment of your life the choice stands before you. Drift with the tide of mediocrity or set your own sail toward a definite purpose. The first path is easy, but leads nowhere. The second is hard, but it will awaken parts of you you have never known. And when you look back from the mountaintop of your achievements, you will see that the climb was the making of you. There is a moment in every life when the question cannot be avoided. Am I living by design or by default? Most never ask it out loud. They bury it under routine, under comfort, under distraction. They avoid the mirror because they fear what it will show. A life half-lived, potential untouched, dreams traded for safety. But safety is the greatest illusion of all. The world changes whether you act or not. Time passes whether you chase your vision or watch it fade. The clock does not pause out of mercy for those who hesitate. History remembers those who chose to design their lives. It remembers the man who, against every voice of doubt, set his eyes on building something the world had never seen. It remembers the woman who refused to accept the life society told her was enough and created her own rules. And here is the truth that burns. You have the same mind, the same spirit, the same untapped force within you as they did. The only difference is whether you will claim it. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose, the unwavering decision to center your energy, your time, and your every action on a single aim until it becomes reality. Do not confuse this with wishing. Wishes are weak. They dissolve under the first heat of opposition. A definite purpose is steel in the soul. It is the kind of decision that makes quitting impossible, because the cost of quitting is the death of the self you know you were meant to become. When your purpose is clear, discipline is no longer drudgery, it becomes devotion. Every sacrifice is a brick in the foundation of your dream. Every early morning, every late night, every risk you take is an offering to the vision that owns you. This is the difference between the wandering and the destined. The wandering treat their goals like guests, welcome for a while but easily replaced. The destined treat their goals like blood, inseparable from who they are. But you must be prepared for the law that governs all worthy pursuits. Before life crowns you, it will test you. It will strip away the easy wins. It will confront you with delays, with betrayals, with seasons where nothing seems to move. And in those seasons most will quit. They will tell themselves it wasn't meant to be. The destined see these seasons for what they are. The refining fire. Gold is not pure until it has endured the heat. Steel is not strong until it has been forged. If you would be great, you must walk through that fire with unblinking eyes. You must learn to see opportunity where others see loss. You must train yourself to expect resistance and to welcome it as the sign that you are moving against the current of mediocrity. Think of the Wright brothers. They were not the first to dream of flight. Many had dreamed before them. But while others quit after the first failed attempt, they rose each morning with the conviction that man would fly, and that they would be the ones to do it. They adapted their designs. They tested, failed, rebuilt, tested again, and on a windy morning at Kitty Hawk, they left the ground. That is the pattern. A vision so strong it survives failure. A will so stubborn it bends the world around it. And here is where you must confront the greatest enemy of all, the quiet voice inside that says, "You're not ready. You're not worthy. You're not enough." That voice is a liar. It is the echo of fears planted by a world that benefits when you play small. It feeds on your hesitation. It grows when you delay. The only way to silence it is through action. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now action has a way of crushing fear before it takes root. Every step forward, no matter how small, declares to the world and to yourself, I am moving, I am becoming. Understand this: life will never hand you the perfect moment. There will always be a reason to wait. But the people who shape history are those who act while the paint is still wet, while the conditions are still messy, while the outcome is still uncertain. And once you begin, momentum will carry you further than motivation ever could. Motivation is fleeting. Momentum is built brick by brick, habit by habit, until it becomes unstoppable. In this process you will find that success is less about intensity and more about consistency. It's not the one grand gesture that builds an empire, it's the thousands of small, unglamorous decisions repeated until they form a fortress. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you add a brick. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you add a brick. Every time you choose action over excuse, you add a brick. Day after day you are building, and one day, without warning, you will look up and realize you have become the person you once dreamed of being. Not because of a single leap, but because you never stopped climbing. That is the promise of definiteness of purpose. When you hold to it without compromise, the world cannot help but move aside for the one who knows where they are going. There is a force within you right now, silent and waiting, a force you may have only glimpsed in rare moments of courage or clarity. It is the part of you that knows you are meant for more. It is the part of you that does not measure itself by yesterday's failures or today's limitations, but by the heights it is capable of reaching. Most people bury this force. They bury it beneath years of compromise, beneath the opinions of others, beneath the belief that this is just the way life is. But the truth is, life is not fixed. It bends to the will of those who refuse to accept it as they found it. Every invention, every movement, every breakthrough in human history was created by someone who decided the world could be different. Decide that for yourself, and your life will never be the same. Napoleon Hill called this the starting point of all achievement. Desire, not a fleeting wish, not a vague preference, a burning, white-hot desire that grips you and refuses to let go. It must be so strong that it becomes part of your identity, not I want this, but I am the person who will have this. Without desire, discipline is impossible. Without desire, belief fades. Without desire, you will settle for a fraction of your potential and call it enough. But with desire, true consuming desire, obstacles become challenges, and challenges become victories. Consider Edison again. 10,000 failures, 10,000 reasons to quit. But his desire was greater than his frustration. He once said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That is the voice of desire armed with persistence. Your own desire must be guarded as fiercely as a flame in the wind. The winds will come in the form of doubt, distraction, delay. Most will let their flame go out at the first gust. But if you shield it, feed it, protect it, that flame will grow into a fire no storm can put out. This is why you must surround yourself with those who fuel your fire, not those who drain it. The people you spend time with will either water your vision or poison it. If you walk with the complacent, you will learn to settle. If you walk with the driven, you will learn to rise. And when you have the right desire, fed by the right environment, you must give it direction. Desire without a plan is like a ship with no rudder. It drifts, wasting its power. A plan transforms desire into destiny, not a perfect plan. Perfection is a myth that keeps people from ever starting, but a clear, workable plan that you refine as you go. Hill taught the principle of organized planning for this very reason. All the desire in the world means nothing if it is not harnessed into specific, intentional action. Write your plan. Break it into steps. Assign deadlines. Treat each step as a non-negotiable commitment. And remember, the plan is a living thing. You will adapt it as you learn, as conditions change, as you grow stronger. But you must have it, or your energy will scatter into nothing. And as you work that plan, something remarkable will happen. You will begin to see results. Small at first, a conversation that opens a door, a skill you didn't have before, a problem solved more easily than before. Each result is proof. Each proof builds belief. Each belief fuels more action. This is the cycle that transforms the impossible into the inevitable. But here is the part many never understand. Success is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things, with relentless focus, over and over. The world is full of busy people going nowhere. Activity is not achievement. The man who spends 10 hours digging a hole in the wrong place will not find gold, no matter how hard he works. Clarity first, then action. And when your clarity and action meet resistance, as they will, persistence must take the lead. Persistence is more than just not quitting. It is the habit of finding another way when the first way fails. It is the ability to face rejection, defeat, and delay without losing momentum. It is what allowed Carnegie to rise from factory laborer to steel magnate. It is what allowed Lincoln to rise from a string of political losses to the presidency. It is what will allow you to cross the distance between where you are and where you are meant to be. Persistence makes your vision inevitable because it removes the expiration date from your dream. Most people's goals die young. They give them a few weeks, a few months, maybe a year before they declare them impossible. But the persistent keep watering the seed long after the impatient have left the field. And one day, while the world is looking elsewhere, that seed breaks the soil. It grows. It bears fruit. And the same people who once doubted will ask how you did it. The answer will be simple. I refuse to stop. And yet persistence without faith becomes drudgery. You must believe that the thing you are working toward is worth the effort, worth the time, worth the cost. That belief will not always come from what you see in front of you. It must often be borrowed from the vision in your mind. You must learn to live in the world as it is while keeping your heart in the world as it will be. Because the world as it will be is shaped right now by the thoughts you choose to hold and the actions you choose to take. Faith is the invisible force that makes men act when logic says to quit. It is the voice that says keep digging when the gold is inches away but still unseen. Napoleon Hill wrote that faith is the eternal elixir that gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. Without it, your vision is only a sketch on paper. With it, your vision takes on form and substance in the physical world. Faith is not blind. It does not ignore reality, it shapes it. It is not wishful thinking. It is a conscious choice to believe in the outcome before the evidence appears. Every person who has ever accomplished the extraordinary has operated on faith. Edison had it when his lab filled with failed experiments. Disney had it when his pockets were empty. Ford had it when engineers told him his assembly line was impossible. They were not gambling. They were not guessing. They were acting on a law they understood, that the mind, once convinced, drives the body and the spirit to move mountains. But faith is not something you stumble into. It is something you build. It grows from repetition, from saturating your mind with your goal, from feeding it words, images, and actions that align with the future you've decided to create. If you wake each day and speak doubt, surround yourself with cynics, consume negativity, and allow fear to roam your mind unchecked, your faith will wither. If you wake each day and affirm your goals, stand in the company of the ambitious, and seek proof of progress, your faith will multiply. And with faith comes a remarkable byproduct, courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. Fear is a natural signal. It warns you of risk. But courage is the ability to look risk in the eye and move forward anyway. Great fortunes, great discoveries, great victories all require courage at some point. There will be a moment in your journey when the safe road forks away from the road that leads to your dream. You will stand there, hearing the voice of comfort pulling you back, and you will have to choose. Choose the dream. Every time. Even when the next step is shrouded in fog. Even when the cost is high. Even when the outcome is uncertain. Because the safe road will take you somewhere, but never where you were meant to go. And here is the great irony. The risk of staying the same is far greater than the risk of change. Staying the same means guaranteeing the slow decay of potential. It means waking up one day full of regret for what could have been. Risk is the price of living a life worth remembering. And when you combine faith with courage, you unlock another of Hill's great principles. Decision incision is the graveyard of opportunity. Every day, countless dreams die not from failure, but from hesitation. People wait for the right moment, the perfect information, the clear sign. But the world moves fast, and opportunity does not wait for the hesitant. The great achievers make decisions quickly and change them slowly. They trust their vision, act on it, and adjust as they go. If they are wrong, they learn. If they are right, they advance. Either way, they are moving. Movement itself is power. The man who waits is at the mercy of the man who acts. Once you make a decision, the world around you begins to shift. Resources you could not see before start appearing. People who share your vision begin crossing your path. Circumstances rearrange themselves in your favor. This is not magic. It is the natural consequence of focused intent and decisive action. But there is one more force that ties all of this together, the mastermind. Hill discovered that no great achievement is the result of one person alone. Behind every fortune, every innovation, every movement is a network of minds united in a common purpose. The mastermind is the deliberate alliance of two or more people working toward a shared goal in a spirit of harmony. It is not about surrounding yourself with the most famous or the most powerful. It is about surrounding yourself with the right people. The right people will challenge you when you grow complacent. They will share knowledge you do not have. They will believe in your vision when you momentarily forget to. And when you unite your mind with theirs, a new force is created, greater than the sum of its parts. Ideas flow. Energy multiplies. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Carnegie credited much of his empire to his mastermind group. Edison's lab was filled with brilliant minds collaborating day and night. Even Lincoln assembled a team of rivals, people who disagreed with him, to sharpen his thinking. If you attempt to do everything alone, you will be limited to your own perspective, your own energy, your own reach. When you align with others who are equally committed, you multiply every resource you have. And yet the mastermind requires one essential ingredient: harmony. Without it, the alliance collapses. Ego, distrust, and disunity are poison to achievement. Choose your mastermind partners as carefully as you choose your destination. Seek those who bring strength where you are weak, clarity where you are uncertain, and fire where your resolve flickers. And remember, the value you bring to them must match or exceed the value they bring to you. Partnership is not about taking. It is about building together with faith, courage, decision, and the power of the mastermind. Your potential has no ceiling, but potential, no matter how great, must be converted into reality. And reality bends only for those who are relentless in pursuit. Relentlessness is not a mood. It is not something you feel only when you are inspired. Relentlessness is a decision, a permanent posture toward life that says, I will not stop until the vision in my mind becomes the reality under my feet. Thus, people start strong but fade when the first storm hits. They mistake discomfort for danger, challenge for failure, and delay for denial. But those who reach the summit understand storms are part of the climb. You cannot demand the peak without earning it through the weather. When you study the lives of the great, the Carnegies, the Edisons, the Disneys, the Fords, you find a common thread. They all faced moments where the logical choice was to quit. They all faced long stretches where the work seemed endless and the reward invisible. And yet they pressed on, not recklessly, not stubbornly for the sake of pride, but because they knew that every setback carried the seed of an advantage. Hill himself said, every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This is not just philosophy, it is a working principle of life. The problem is that most people never search for the seed. They see the loss, the disappointment, the closed door, and they stop looking. The relentless mind, however, digs through the ashes until it finds the spark. It asks, what can I learn? What can I use? How can I turn this to my advantage? And in asking, it finds. Relentlessness also demands you control the narrative you tell yourself. If your internal dialogue is a stream of complaints, doubts, and justifications, you are sabotaging your own climb. Words shape thought, and thought shapes action. The relentless speak to themselves with command, with certainty, with direction. They do not deny the difficulty, but they affirm their ability to overcome it. Control of self-talk is one of the most underrated forms of discipline. Every great achievement begins first as a spoken command to the self. I will do this. I am capable of this. I am becoming this. But discipline is not just in words, it is in the structure of your life. Relentless people design their days around their priorities. They do not leave success to chance or when I have time. They make time. They say no to what does not serve their purpose, no matter how tempting or convenient it may seem. This is why so few become truly great, because greatness is inconvenient. It interrupts comfort. It demands more than most are willing to give, but it gives more than most can imagine. When you live with relentless focus, you begin to experience a rare power, momentum. Momentum is different from motivation. Motivation comes and goes with moods. Momentum, once built, carries you even through days when you feel nothing. Think of a train leaving the station. It moves slowly at first, burning immense energy to inch forward. But once it's at full speed, it can carry on for miles with minimal effort, and stopping it becomes nearly impossible. That is momentum in your life. It is built through consistent, focused action. And once you have it, the results compound. Small wins lead to bigger wins. Opportunities begin to find you because you are already in motion. But there is a danger here. When momentum builds, so does the temptation to grow careless, to coast, to believe that because things are going well, they will always go well without your full attention. This is how empires fall. This is how leaders crumble. The relentless never coast. They may rest strategically, intentionally, but they never stop building. They remain students of their craft. They keep sharpening the edge. They remember that the same forces that created their success will be required to sustain it. And here is where another of Hill's great truths comes into play. Success requires continuous growth. The moment you believe you have arrived, you have begun your decline. Look at nature. Nothing stays still. It is either growing or decaying. Your mind, your skills, your relationships, your wealth, they follow the same law. To keep them, you must grow them. To grow them, you must keep learning. Learning is not a phase of life. It is the foundation of life. The world belongs to those who remain curious, who question, who study. The wealthiest and most powerful minds on earth are still learning every day. Carnegie once said he could walk into any business and double its profits in a year, not because he knew every industry, but because he had mastered the principles of efficiency, leadership, and human nature. Principles he learned through study and experience. And here is the final layer. When you commit to lifelong learning, you not only keep yourself sharp, you keep yourself humble. You understand that no matter how much you know, there is more to discover. This humility is what allows you to adapt when the world changes, to hear valuable ideas from unexpected sources, and to stay ahead while others are clinging to the past. Relentlessness without learning becomes stubbornness. Learning without relentlessness becomes unused knowledge. Combined, they make you unstoppable. And yet there is still one more truth you must carry if you are to master Napoleon Hill's wisdom in the modern world: the understanding that wealth, success, and achievement mean nothing without purpose. Purpose is the compass that makes sure your climb leads somewhere worth reaching. Without it, you can spend your life scaling a mountain only to find that you've conquered the wrong one. You can build wealth that feels empty, win recognition that leaves you hollow, chase goals that once achieved do not satisfy. Purpose answers the question why. Why are you willing to wake before dawn? Why are you willing to endure the grind, the setbacks, the long seasons where results seem invisible? If your answer is shallow, if it is built only on ego or status, or the desire to prove someone wrong, your fuel will burn out. But if your purpose is deep, if it is rooted in something larger than yourself, it becomes inexhaustible. The most powerful people in history did not act only for personal gain. Carnegie built libraries across the nation. Edison revolutionized daily life for millions. Lincoln preserved the Union for generations unborn. Their personal dreams were intertwined with the betterment of others. Purpose is not always grand at first. It can begin as the simple desire to change your own circumstances, to break a cycle, to leave something better for those who come after you. But as you grow, your purpose expands. It begins to reach beyond you. It begins to touch lives you will never meet. And here is where the greatest shift happens. When your purpose reaches beyond yourself, your resilience multiplies. You stop asking, "Can I keep going?" and start declaring, "I must keep going." Purpose makes sacrifice feel light. It makes effort feel meaningful. It makes obstacles feel like part of the story rather than interruptions to it. But purpose alone is not enough. It must be fused with vision. Vision is the mental picture of the future you are creating. It is what allows you to live in two worlds at once, the world as it is and the world as it will be. The stronger and clearer your vision, the more your mind will seek ways to make it real. The human mind is designed to solve the problems it focuses on. Give it a clear destination, and it will begin mapping routes you could never have seen before. This is why Hill insisted on autosuggestion, the daily repetition of your vision until it becomes part of your subconscious. You see it in your mind so vividly that reality begins to bend toward it. You speak it aloud until the sound of it feels like truth. Vision is what carried Disney through bankruptcy. It is what carried the Wright brothers through failure. It is what will carry you through the seasons when no one else can see what you see. And when vision and purpose combine, they create an energy that cannot be faked. People feel it. They are drawn to it. They trust it. This is why leaders who know where they are going never walk alone. Their certainty inspires others to walk beside them. But here is the danger. Vision without discipline is only daydreaming. Purpose without daily action is only poetry. To turn them into reality, you must anchor them in habits so solid that they stand even on days when your emotions would have you quit. Habits are the bridge between inspiration and results. They are the daily proof of your commitment to your purpose. They are the way you declare, "This is who I am becoming." If your vision is wealth, your habits must reflect wealth-building behaviors, learning about finance, managing resources, investing wisely. If your vision is influence, your habits must reflect influence-building behaviors, sharpening communication, expanding your network, adding value to others. If your vision is mastery, your habits must reflect mastery-building behaviors, deliberate practice, study, and reflection. The habit of action is the master habit. Without it, all other intentions are useless. And here is the truth. Action does not have to be perfect. You will make mistakes. You will get some steps wrong. But consistent imperfect action will carry you further than sporadic perfect action. The mountain is climbed by thousands of steps, not one flawless leap. And with each step, you will change. Your skills will sharpen. Your confidence will grow. Your faith will deepen. And eventually you will look back and realize that the person who began this journey could not have even imagined the person you have become. This transformation is the true reward. Yes, the money matters. Yes, the recognition can be useful. Yes, the achievements are worth celebrating. But the deepest victory is becoming the kind of person who can create these things at will. Because once you have built yourself, you can build anything. And once you can build anything, you can give freely. Not from scarcity but from abundance. Hill knew this. Wealth, when held by a person of character and vision, becomes a tool for building a better world. But in the hands of the undisciplined, it becomes a weapon of self-destruction. That is why your purpose, your vision, your discipline, and your habits are not just the path to success. They are the safeguards against losing yourself when success comes. And it will come. If you hold the picture in your mind. If you feed it with faith. If you back it with relentless action, if you persist through the storms, the day will come when the dream that once kept you awake at night will be the life you wake up to. There will be nights when your vision feels distant, when the gap between where you are and where you want to be seems too vast to cross. In those moments, doubt will whisper in your ear. It will remind you of your failures, your flaws, your past mistakes. It will parade every reason you should quit. And it will try to disguise itself as logic, as realism, as just being practical. This is the exact moment where most people surrender. But this is also the exact moment where the few, the rare, rise, because they understand something most never will. Doubt is not a signal to stop. Doubt is the resistance you feel when you are pressing against the boundaries of your current self. It is the threshold between who you are and who you are becoming. Every great achiever has faced it. Napoleon Hill himself faced rejection after rejection while seeking the wisdom that would later fill, think, and grow rich. Edison faced 10,000 failed experiments before the light bulb burned bright. Ford faced financial ruin before his vision of affordable cars reshaped the world. They did not interpret obstacles as signs to turn back. They interpreted them as signs they were on the path worth taking. Understand this. The road to mastery is not smooth because it is designed to filter out the uncommitted. Life will test you to see if your desire is stronger than your excuses. It will hand you challenges in disguise, each one asking the same question: how much do you truly want this? And if you answer with action, if you answer with persistence, you will move forward, not always quickly, not always gracefully, but forward nonetheless. This is where faith becomes more than a concept. It becomes a daily practice, not blind faith, not the kind that ignores reality, but faith in your ability to adapt, to endure, to find a way when the way is not visible yet. Faith is seeing the invisible bridge before your foot ever touches it. It is believing that your efforts compound even when the results are not yet measurable. It is trusting that your preparation is planting seeds in the unseen, and that in time, perhaps in a season you least expect, the harvest will come. The impatient will never see it. The half-hearted will never reap it. But those who hold the vision through the dark nights, those who keep moving when the applause is absent and the road is silent, they will arrive. And when they do, something extraordinary happens. The very pain that once felt unbearable becomes the foundation of their strength. The very rejection that once felt personal becomes the proof of their resilience. You will come to thank the obstacles, because without them you would not have developed the endurance to carry what you are about to receive. Remember, nature does not build weak structures. The tallest trees endure the strongest winds. The deepest roots grow in the toughest soil. The most brilliant diamonds are formed under the most intense pressure. Your journey is no different. The pressure is shaping you. The resistance is refining you. The storms are teaching you how to stand without fear. And each day you continue, even on the days you feel like you're barely crawling, you are proving to yourself that you are worthy of the success you are building. This is the essence of Napoleon Hill's philosophy in the modern world. Your circumstances are not the deciding factor. Your current reality is not the measure of your potential. Your consistent belief fueled by decisive action will override almost any limitation, but it demands that you play the long game, that you refuse to be seduced by shortcuts, by overnight success, by the illusion that there is a path without struggle, because there isn't. And that is good news. The struggle is what makes you unshakable. The struggle is what separates you from the masses who fold under pressure. The struggle is what forges the strength you will need not just to win but to hold what you've won. And when you understand this, truly understand it, you stop fearing the hard days. You stop resenting the grind. You embrace it, knowing that each moment you persist, you are stepping deeper into the identity of the person who can create and keep extraordinary success. There will come a time, and it may come sooner than you expect, when the person you once were feels like a distant shadow, when you look back and barely recognize the one who doubted, who delayed, who played small. This transformation does not happen in a single moment. It happens in the quiet accumulation of choices. The mornings you rise when you don't feel like it, the hours you study when the world is distracted, the calls you make, the risks you take, the fears you face and refuse to let dictate your life. It is here in this private battleground of the mind that the future is won or lost. Napoleon Hill wrote that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But he also warned most people will never achieve, because they will never believe long enough to act with persistence. They will quit when the applause fades. They will stop when the work feels heavy. They will retreat at the first sign of uncertainty. But you, if you commit to holding the vision, will not. Understand this deeply. You are not just chasing goals. You are building a self capable of commanding reality. Every disciplined act is a brick in that structure. Every small win is mortar holding your future together. Your habits are not just actions. They are votes for the person you are becoming. The world will tell you to slow down, to be realistic, to stop pushing so hard. They will call your dedication obsession as if that's a weakness. But all great achievement is obsession. Obsession with a purpose so strong, it cannot be ignored. So clear it cannot be talked down. So alive it keeps you moving when logic says stop. Think of Carnegie, arriving in America with nothing, shaping an empire from steel. Think of Lincoln, self-educating in the dim light of a fireplace, preparing himself for the moment destiny would call. Think of Disney, rejected by banks over and over, holding the vision of a place where dreams come true until the world finally caught up to what he saw. They were not reasonable. They were relentless. And so must you be, because the truth is no one is coming to rescue you. No one is obligated to hand you opportunity. The world owes you nothing, but it will respond to the strength of your will. If you declare with absolute conviction that you will become something more, and if your actions match your declaration day after day after day, the world will rearrange itself around your determination. This is the quiet law beneath all success. Life bends for the one who refuses to break. And the beautiful part is this: once you begin to see results, once you begin to taste the rewards of your persistence, you will realize it was never just about the achievement, it was about the growth, the person you have become in the pursuit, the unshakable mind you forged, the unwavering belief that now runs in your veins. From this point forward, setbacks won't scare you because you will know you can rebuild. Loss won't paralyze you because you will know you can recover. Fear won't control you because you will know it is nothing but a signal that you are moving in the right direction. This is self-mastery. This is freedom. This is the life Hill was pointing toward, one where you are the captain of your soul, the commander of your fate, because you have disciplined your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. And once you reach this level of control over yourself, there is nothing, no market crash, no critic, no rejection, no failure that can truly stop you. You may bend, but you will not break. You may pause, but you will not quit, because you have crossed the line from wishing into knowing. And once you know, truly know, that you will win, the rest is just a matter of time. There is a rhythm to greatness, a pulse, a deep, steady beat that drives those who will not be denied. It is the rhythm of discipline, the rhythm of vision, the rhythm of unshakable belief. Most people never hear it. They live life reacting to news, reacting to doubt, reacting to whatever the world throws their way. They dance to a song they did not choose. But those who rise above, those who leave their mark on history, they write their own music. They walk to the sound of their own drum, even when no one else can hear it yet. Napoleon Hill understood this truth. Success is not a product of chance. It is orchestrated, note by note, thought by thought, action by action. The mind is the composer, and life plays the symphony you arrange. You cannot create a masterpiece with scattered notes and random bursts of effort. You cannot create a masterpiece by starting and stopping, doubting and delaying. You must decide. You must hold the vision in your mind with the grip of steel, and you must write your destiny with deliberate, decisive strokes. Look at the builders of industry, the leaders who changed nations, the artists who redefined culture. They did not wait for inspiration to strike like lightning. They built the conditions for inspiration to live in their lives every day. They woke up with purpose. They worked with urgency. They protected their minds from the pollution of negativity. And when the world told them to slow down, they pressed harder. Why? Because they knew something most will never understand. There is no neutral in life. You are either moving forward toward your vision, or you are sliding backward into mediocrity. There is no standing still. Every day you wait, every day you hesitate, every day you choose comfort over courage. You are building a life you will regret, but every day you act, every day you dare, every day you choose discipline over distraction. You are building a life that will echo beyond your years. So guard your vision like a fortress. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to rise higher. Feed your mind the knowledge, the examples, the stories of those who have already done what others call impossible. And above all, keep moving. Even when the night feels endless, even when the results are still invisible, even when the doubts feel louder than the dream, because the moment you stop is the moment the rhythm dies, and the rhythm is everything. If you can keep it alive, if you can keep walking to the beat of belief long enough, something miraculous happens. The world begins to adjust itself around you. Opportunities appear where there were none. Doors open that seemed sealed shut. People arrive who were destined to meet you, drawn by the same frequency you have been broadcasting through your actions. This is not magic. This is cause and effect. This is the law that Hill and every giant who has walked before you has proven in the fire of their own lives. Hold the vision, feed the belief, live in the rhythm, and soon Very soon, the world will dance to your song. There comes a moment in every journey when you stand at the edge of yourself, when you feel the weight of every doubt, every delay, every fear you have ever carried, pressing against you like a storm determined to drive you back. It is in this moment that most people retreat. They tell themselves, it's not the right time. They shrink their vision to fit the size of their current courage, and they return to the comfort of the familiar, where the world expects them to stay. But if you are to become the person you were meant to be, you must do the opposite. You must step forward into the wind. You must move, not because you feel ready, but because you refuse to let fear dictate your fate. Napoleon Hill knew this, that all achievement begins in the realm of the unseen. You will never feel completely prepared. You will never have every answer. You will never see the entire path lit before you. And yet, you must move. Thomas Edison didn't wait until he knew exactly how to create the light bulb. He moved forward through thousands of failed experiments, each one bringing him closer to success. Henry Ford didn't wait until the world believed in the automobile. He moved forward until the world could no longer ignore what he had built. Helen Keller didn't wait for the conditions to be perfect. She moved forward in darkness and silence until her voice reached the ears of millions. Every great leap forward in history has been taken in the dark. The mind will try to stop you with questions it knows you cannot yet answer. What if it doesn't work? What if you fail? What if they laugh? But here is the counter question you must hold on to. What if I succeed? What if your idea changes lives? What if your persistence inspires a generation? What if the story you live becomes the proof someone else needs to believe in themselves? You see, the moment you step forward in faith, true, unshakable faith in your vision, you ignite a chain reaction. Every action you take strengthens your belief. Every belief you strengthen fuels your next action. Until you are no longer a person trying to achieve something, you are a force that cannot be stopped. And here is the truth. The world bends to forces. It always has. Look at history. Every empire, every invention, every cultural revolution, all were driven by the will of a few who refused to be swayed by the opinions of the many. Your dream is no different. It demands the same level of resolve. It requires you to declare without apology, I will not stop. I will not slow down. I will not give up. Not until the vision in my mind becomes the reality beneath my feet. Because there will be resistance. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when quitting will feel easier. But every time you refuse to quit, you train your mind to see struggle not as a sign to stop, but as a signal you are on the right path. And here's the great paradox. The moment you stop, fearing resistance is the moment resistance loses its power over you. From then on you move differently. You think differently. You are different. The world senses it. Opportunities sense it. Success senses it. And they are drawn to you like a compass needle to true north. This is the point of no return. The place where you no longer wonder if you will make it, only how soon. There is a fire inside you that the world has not yet seen in full. It flickers in moments of quiet conviction, when you catch a glimpse of what your life could be if you gave yourself fully to your purpose. It roars when you take bold steps forward, even when the ground beneath you shakes. But here's the truth. Most people smother their fire before it ever reaches its full strength. They hide it under layers of doubt, fear, and the comfort of good enough. They convince themselves that greatness is for someone else, some other life, some other time. And so they settle. They trade the blazing fire of possibility for the dim glow of routine. But not you. Not if you truly understand what Napoleon Hill was trying to tell you. Your mind is the master key. Your thoughts are the forge. And your persistence is the hammer that shapes reality itself. There is no limit to what you can create except the limit you place on your own belief. Think about that. The greatest obstacle you will ever face is not the economy, not the competition, not even the opinions of others. It is the silent war between your vision and your hesitation. When your vision wins, you move with clarity. When hesitation wins, you move in circles. Hill's philosophy was never about luck. It was about law. The law that whatever you hold in your mind with faith and act upon with persistence must eventually take form in your life. This is why you cannot afford to entertain weak thoughts. A weak thought left unchecked will grow into a weak belief. A weak belief will grow into weak actions, and weak actions will grow into a weak life. But the opposite is also true. A strong thought repeated with conviction becomes a strong belief. A strong belief drives bold action, and bold action creates a life that commands respect, admiration, and legacy. You see, your mind is like fertile soil. It will grow whatever you plant. Plant weeds, you'll get weeds. Plant oak trees, you'll get oak trees. The soil does not choose. It only returns what you sow. So if you want a life of wealth, plant thoughts of wealth. If you want a life of freedom, plant thoughts of freedom. If you want a life of significance, plant thoughts of service, courage, and vision. But planting is not enough. You must protect what you plant. Guard your mind as fiercely as a king guards his crown. Turn away from the voices that whisper doubt into your ear. Step away from the habits that drain your energy and cloud your focus. Refuse to allow negativity to poison the roots of your vision, because the moment you let your guard down, the weeds return. And here is the part most people overlook. The harvest will not come immediately. The world will not clap for you on day one. You may water the seeds of your dream for years before they break the surface. This is where faith becomes your greatest ally. Faith is what keeps you planting and watering when there is nothing to show for your effort. Faith is what carries you through the seasons of doubt and drought. Faith is what keeps the fire alive until the day you look up and realize the forest has grown around you. You will hear the doubters. You will see others take shortcuts. You will feel the pull to give up when progress seems invisible. But you must remember, you are not working for applause today. You are building an empire for tomorrow. And one day when the results finally break through, they will not be small. They will not be fragile. They will be undeniable. You will stand in the reality you once only saw in your mind. And in that moment, you will understand the fire you carried was not just for you. It was for everyone your life would touch. There comes a point when the dream is no longer just a dream. It becomes a summons, a call so loud, so clear, so relentless, that you can no longer pretend not to hear it. At first it speaks in whispers. Late at night when the world is quiet, in those moments when your mind drifts away from the noise of the day, it shows you flashes of the life you could have, the person you could become. And then as you take steps toward it, the whispers become thunder. It demands your attention. It demands your devotion. It demands that you step into the version of yourself that the world has not yet met. This is the moment most people either rise or retreat. They feel the heat of their own potential, and it scares them, because to step into it means to shed the skin of who they've been, and that is not a painless process. But you, if you are still listening, still walking, still fighting, you have already made your choice. You will not retreat. You will not dilute your vision to make it comfortable. You will not betray the fire for the sake of fitting in, because you have learned the truth. Napoleon Hill tried to carve into the minds of those willing to hear him. Life does not pay you for effort alone. It pays you for applied, relentless, intelligent effort, focused toward a definite purpose. A definite purpose is not a casual wish. It is not a maybe or a someday. It is a decision so deep in your spirit that failure is no longer an option. Only progress, only growth, only the next step forward. Andrew Carnegie had it. So did Henry Ford. So did every titan who turned an idea into an empire. They did not wait for perfect conditions. They created them. They did not bow to circumstances. They bent circumstances to their will. And here's the part no one wants to admit. They paid a price for it. Every dream demands payment in advance, in hours when no one is watching, in sacrifices no one applauds, in risks no one else is willing to take. You must decide if you are willing to make that payment, not once, not twice, but for as long as it takes, because you will be tested, not lightly. You will be tested at the edge of your endurance, again and again, until the world is convinced that you are serious. But if you endure, something remarkable happens. The world begins to move in your favor. Opportunities appear that others call luck, but you know better. They are the compound interest of your persistence. This is where most give up. right before the tide turns. They cannot see that the test was the final gate. They stop digging when the gold was one strike away. Do not make their mistake. Keep going when it feels impossible. Keep going when the silence is deafening. Keep going when everything in you screams to turn back, because the test is not there to break you. It is there to make you worthy of what you are asking for. There is a line you will reach, a place where the air is thin, the ground is steep, and the weight on your shoulders feels unbearable. This is the threshold where most men turn back. They tell themselves they've done enough. They settle for the view halfway up the mountain, but the summit was never meant for those who stop when it hurts. It was meant for those who press forward, because it hurts. Pain is not your enemy here. It is your signal. It is the proof that you are crossing into territory most will never see. It is the sound of your old limitations cracking, splintering under the pressure of your new strength. Do you understand what that means? It means that every obstacle in front of you is not a wall. It is a forge. It is shaping you, hardening you, preparing you for a life that cannot be taken from you. Napoleon Hill quote, "Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." This is not a pretty phrase to make you feel better. It is a law, but the seed only grows if you stay in the fight long enough to water it with your sweat, your discipline, and your refusal to quit. Thomas Edison knew this. He did not fail 1,000 times. He discovered 1,000 ways that did not work. Each failure was simply one more lock picked on the door to his vision, and that is the mindset you must carry. The unshakable certainty that the summit is already yours. You are not hoping. You are not wishing. You are moving with the calm conviction that you will arrive, because there is no reality in which you stop. When your belief reaches that level, the world bends. Doubt loses its voice. Fear loses its teeth. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and you start declaring, "Nothing will stop me." And in that moment, you become dangerous, not to others, but to every force that once held you down. Dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to hesitation, dangerous to the life you swore you would never settle for, because now you move like a man who knows his destiny is not something to be found. It is something to be claimed. And here's the final truth most will never grasp. You don't climb the mountain to conquer it. You climb it to conquer yourself. The summit is not the reward. The reward is the man who arrives there, stronger, wiser, unstoppable. There is a silence at the top, not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of truth, the kind of silence where you can hear your own heartbeat, steady and strong, and realize you have become the person you once dreamed about. Up here the noise of the world fades. The opinions, the doubts, the distractions, they no longer have weight. You understand now that every trial was not working against you. It was working for you. Every moment you thought was breaking you was actually building you. Every sleepless night, every lonely morning, every unseen sacrifice was a brick laid in the foundation of the unshakable version of your soul. You have learned what Napoleon Hill meant when he said, "Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle." It was never about avoiding the struggle. It was about embracing it, knowing it was the crucible that would refine you into gold. From this height you look down and see the path you've walked, the valleys of doubt, the cliffs of fear, the storms of uncertainty, and you smile, not because it was easy, but because you did not turn back. Most people never get to see this view, not because it's hidden from them, but because they refuse to take the first step, or the next, or the next. They quit halfway and convince themselves the summit is overrated. But you now know the truth. It was worth everything. And here is the power no one can take from you. The knowing that you can start over tomorrow with nothing, and you will rise again, because the wealth you've built inside can never be stolen. Your muscle, your discipline, your vision, or ability to see a goal and move toward it without hesitation. That is the real fortune. Now you carry a different kind of responsibility, not to show off your victory, but to use it, to lift others, to inspire without preaching, to lead without demanding. You understand that success is not just a destination, it is a tool, and the greatest use of it is to build something that will outlast you. The world has always belonged to the few who dared to believe, to act, to persist when every voice around them said, "Stop," and now you are one of them. So you walk back down the mountain, not to leave it behind, but to bring its truth to those still climbing, because the journey never ends. It simply changes form. And somewhere deep inside, you already know there is another mountain waiting, and you are already ready to climb. Every great light begins with a spark, an idea so small it could be dismissed in an instant, but you didn't dismiss it. You caught it. You sheltered it. You fed it until it grew into a fire that could not be put out. That fire was your vision, and the day you decided to protect it at all costs was the day your life shifted forever. Napoleon Hill wrote that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. No, not might achieve. No, oh lo, achieve, but only if you hold it, unshaken, against the winds of doubt that will try to snuff it out. The world will always test you. It will whisper that you're not ready, that it's too risky, that your dreams are too big for someone like you. But what the world calls too big, the greats have always called just right. Look at Carnegie, a man born into poverty, who imagined steel empires before the first beam was forged. Look at Ford, who saw cars in every driveway when people still traveled by horse. Look at Edison, who lit up the world while others said it couldn't be done. These men were not just dreamers. They were warriors for their vision. They understood that success is not given to those who merely hope. It is reserved for those who demand it from themselves. And that is what that day you stayed in the fight. You were writing your own name into the story of the few who refused to settle. You were proving again and again that discipline is the highest form of self-love, because to discipline yourself is to believe that your future self is worth the effort you put in today. Now you carry within you the same force that built empires, that turned invisible ideas into tangible realities. You have learned the language of persistence, and once you speak it fluently, the world has no choice but to respond. And here is the unshakable truth. Your journey is not ending. It is compelled. The results you see now are only the first echoes of the life you are building. Every choice you make from this point forward multiplies. Every action carries the weight of all the days you did not quit. This is where most people slow down. But because the same fire that brought you here will push you to go further than even you once thought possible. The game has changed now. You are no longer chasing success. You are attracting it. Not because of luck, but because you have become the kind of person success cannot resist. There comes a moment in every life when the pursuit becomes who you are, when the dream is no longer something you're chasing. It delivers. When every cell in your body is aligned with a single unshakable truth. I was born for this. You've crossed that threshold. The person you when you could not have carried this vision to the end, that version of you had to die so a stronger, sharper, more certain version could take its place. And now you move differently. You speak with the authority of someone who has seen the battlefield and returned, not just alive, but victorious. Your presence carries weight, because it's forged in the fires of 1,000 decisions made when quitting seemed easier. Napoleon Hill spoke of the mastermind, the invisible alliance between your mind and the universal forces that respond to it. You have felt that power. You've watched impossible doors open the moment your conviction became unshakable. You've seen resources, opportunities, and allies appear as if summoned by the strength of your belief. This is no accident. This is the law that the mind, once fixed upon a definite purpose, begins to pull into reality. Everything required. It is as real as gravity. And you are proof. But here is the secret few understand. With great power comes great stewardship. Your vision is not meant to end with you. It is meant to ripple through others, to ignite the sleeping ambition in those who have forgotten their own fire, to remind the world that greatness is not a gift. It is a choice. Look around you now. The life you are living was once only a thought in your mind. And if this is what you could build from the starting point you once had, imagine what you can build from here. You have already proven that you can climb the mountain. Now the only question that remains is how many mountains will you conquer before your time is done? There is a sound the world makes when you refuse to bow to. It's not applause, it's not praise, it's silence. Because when you are truly locked into your purpose, the noise of doubt, criticism, and fear fades into. You stop asking for approval, you stop explaining yourself, and you start moving with the certainty of a force of nature. Napoleon Hill wrote, "When defeat comes, accept it as a signal that your plans are not sound. Rebuild those plans and set sail once more toward your coveted goal." You have done exactly that. You have rebuilt, you have adapted, and now you understand that setbacks are not stop signs, they are sharpeners. Edison time before his light reached the world. Disney was told he lacked imagination before he drew his first empire. Lincoln lost more elections than most men could bear, yet his vision of a united nation carried him to the highest office. The common thread: they never surrendered to the temporary. They understood that every delay was a test of belief, and the ones who pass the test are the ones the world remembers. Now here you stand, not at the end of your journey, but at the beginning of a greater one. The discipline you forged has become your armor. The vision you protected has become your compass. The belief you refused to abandon has become your foundation. From this point forward, life will not simply happen to you. It will happen through you. You will create. You will lead. You will inspire. And those who cross your path will feel the weight of someone who knows where they are going. So tonight, as you close your eyes, let the stillness remind you, you are exactly where you are meant to be. And tomorrow, you will rise with the same fire that has carried every great soul to their destiny. Because you are not here to live a life of smallness. You are here to leave a mark that cannot be erased. And so it comes to this, the final breath before a new chapter, the last quiet moment before the next great leap. Every step you have taken, every sleepless night, any battle you fought in the shadows when no one was watching, has led you here. You stand now in the rare air, where few ever arrive, the place where vision has become reality, and reality has become the foundation for an even greater dream. Napoleon Hill spoke of a burning desire, a flame so fierce it consumes doubt, fear, and limitation. You have not only felt that flame, you have become. You are no longer the one chasing the summit. You are the summit. You are the proof that a single mind, fixed on a single purpose, can bend reality itself. And yet, this is not the end. This is only the first crest of the wave. Beyond this moment are higher peaks, wider horizons, and deeper callings. The greatness you've touched is not a destination, is an identity, one you carry forward into every day you are given. Remember this: you are the architect, the builder, the dreamer, and the doer, the author of your story, and the hero within it. When the world forgets what is possible, you will remind it by the way you walk, by the way you speak, and by the way you live. So as you drift into rest tonight, know this truth: your life is not small. Your time is not wasted. Your purpose is not finished. The same mind that built this chapter will build the next, and the next, and the next, because you have unlocked the greatest truth of all, that success is not something you wait for. It is something you become. Now rest, and when the sun rises, rise with it, with the same fire, with the same vision, with the same relentless certainty that has carried every great soul into the halls of history. Tomorrow is yours, and so is every day after.